Good morning. Am I audible? Blackboard is properly visible. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we'll continue with the same our previous topic, and that is MOSFET amplifier. That's why I kept the circuit diagram as it is. Only the thing I will be able to remove, and that is nothing but how that MOSFET based circuit is working as an amplifier. So yesterday I tried my max to teach you how it is working, okay, and how that amplification takes place, right? Now, today, first of all, we'll discuss about the frequency response of this amplifier circuit, right? Now, what is mean by frequency response? First of all, we'll discuss on that, and then we'll see how it occurs. So first of all, I will just draw one simple block, and this is nothing but our CS MOSFET amplifier circuit. Okay. Now, here I will just show one input coupling capacitor. This is nothing but CI. This one, which we taken it as 0.1 microfarad. I will show it like this. And at the output side, again, one more capacitor, and that is output coupling capacitor, which is nothing but CO and RL, across which we will go on to observe the output. That is VO. Here, we are applying that input signal, which is time varying with respect to ground. Are you getting it? What I done, I only replace all these components by a black box. Okay. And that box is nothing but our amplifier circuit. Is it visible properly? Whatever I shown, is it visible? No response. Okay, I will check myself. Yes, it is there. Are you getting what I am trying to show you? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Be fast now. Why are you responding so much slowly? Here, we are applying this input signal, which will take it as a 100 millivolt peak with 1 kilohertz, correct? And yesterday, during our practical session also, what we observed, we determined the gain of this amplifier circuit. During our theory lecture, we taken that gain as 30, and practically we got that gain as 27.5 something. Is it? It is almost closer to that our considered value, and that is 30. That means whatever input you will be want to apply to this box, which is acting as amplifier, its output will be that 30 times. That is our consideration. Are you getting it? Whatever input we will apply, the obtained output will be 30 times of that applied input. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now we're going on to observe if see yesterday what we studied the effect of that selection of operating point on the performance parameter of that amplifier. What we consider, we taken that input signal of various amplitudes. If that operating point is exactly at the center, then yesterday that example I taken, whenever we will go on to increase it to 300 millivolts, right? And later on, after that 100 millivolts, the clipping of that occurs, of that input signal, it occurs. Is it? That means we are getting that output as distorted output. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So during our previous session, we considered various values of input signal in terms of its amplitude. Right now. Now, today what we will take, we'll keep this 100 millivolt peak as a constant. We will not want to change its amplitude of that input. But what we will want to change its frequency. Are you getting it? Yesterday, we kept this 1 kilohertz frequency as a constant and we varied only the amplitude. And accordingly, we observe that whatever gain we are getting or whatever output we are getting in terms of peak to peak, it remains constant. That gain it remains constant, right? And that is, we consider that 30. There is no variation in gain, right? But today, what we have to do, we have to keep the amplitude of that input signal as a constant and we have to vary its frequency. Are you getting it? To vary the frequency means what? See, I will show you various waveforms. Suppose this one is our 100 millivolt peak signal and 100 millivolt peak, and I will consider as 1 kilohertz frequency. Then I will show the same signal in terms of its amplitude but different frequency. So this is also 100 millivolt peak signal. This is 100 millivolt peak, but the frequency is, for example, we can say it is of 700 hertz only. That means whenever frequency gets changed, whenever that frequency gets reduced, its time period increases. Because f is nothing but what? F equals to 1 by t, and that's why I shown it like this. So what difference you are observing? This signal is somewhat compressed as compared to this one. Right now, for this signal, this is capital T. That is the time taken by that signal to complete its one cycle, right? And over here, for this 1 kilohertz, this much is the capital T. Are you getting the difference? Then and then,
Yes,
you will
sir.
want to understand this topic properly. Huh? If no, just say no, I will again repeat it. See, here I tried to show two signals. Their amplitudes are same, constant, that is 100 millivolt peak. But their frequency is different. This first signal, it is of 1 kilohertz, that's why it looks somewhat compressed signal. And the second signal, its frequency, I consider it as 700 hertz. Right? And that's why it looks like this. It gets elongated as compared to that first one. Right? So see, if I will start directly from 0 hertz. Suppose my applied input signal is of 100 millivolt and 0 hertz. How much will be the output? 0 equals to how much? I will be able to change the frequency from 0 hertz to onward. Whatever prerequisites you studied during my previous sessions, apply that logic. It's very simple. Whenever input signal will be of 0 hertz, my question is how much will be the output voltage?
0.
Yes, it will remain 0. Why it will be 0? Because already we discussed, see, this input coupling capacitor, this Ci, it is connected over here, right? It will go on to offer reactance which will be dependent on what? Applied input signal frequency. This is nothing but Xc. Xc of input. Similarly, I will be able to replace this output coupling capacitor by its reactance like this, and this is nothing but again Xc of output. Are you agree with this? So whenever the frequency of that input signal will be 0 hertz, how much will be Xc? Xc is nothing but what? 1 upon 2 pi f into C. Here already we taken this Vi is 0.1 microfarad. So just try to find out the reactance 1 upon 2 pi into 0 into 0.1 into 10 raised to minus 6. Is it? This much will be the reactance offered by this capacitor. So how much it will be? Xc of input capacitor.
Infinity.
Yes, it will be infinite. Correct? That means this capacitor, it will be going to act as what? Open circuit. Are you agree with this? This is nothing but our input coupling capacitor. It will be going to act as a open. Now, how much will be the signal applied to this box now, which is acting as amplifier? 0. No signal. Yes or no? Here, the applied signal will be of 0 volt because the capacitor is acting as open circuit. Right? And that's why output will be 0. Is it? Now, if we increase that frequency from 0 hertz to suppose 100 hertz. Right? Now the question is, what about the reactances offered by this coupling capacitor? Will it be infinite or finite? Be fast. Replace this 0 by 100.
Finite.
It will be finite.
Finite.
Yes, so it will look like this. Is it? This is nothing but Xci, it will be finite. And as that frequency is very low frequency, we can say Xci will be finite but very high. Correct? Now, just try to observe the Vi. What is the source of this Vi? That is the input applied to amplifier circuit, input signal, right? That input signal, it will going on to pass through this reactive path, which is offered by that capacitor, right? So this is nothing but what? Xc of input coupling capacitor. And as it is finite and very high, applied input signal, will it be equals to 100 millivolt or less than 100 millivolt? First of all, it will not be 0 because that path is now closed. It is not open path. Whenever the input signal frequency is 0 hertz, at that time that path was open. Now it is closed, but it is highly resistive path, which is offered by that input coupling capacitor, and that is nothing but its Xci. Correct. Now my next question is, whatever input we are applying, that is 100 millivolt from the signal generator, will it remain as it is at the input terminal of that amplifier circuit, or it will be greater than applied input or less than applied input? Resistors also we discussed. How much it will
Less
be?
than applied input.
Yes, it will be less than applied input, right? Again, the same thing will going to happen with the output coupling capacitors also. Whatever amplified output signal will get generated by this MOSFET amplifier, there will be somewhat decrease in output at the load side. This is nothing but our output terminal. Or that signal, it passes through output coupling capacitor, the CO. Again, it also will going to offer the same reactance as that of input coupling, right? And hence, that 0, it will not be 0, right? It will not be 0, but it may be somewhat less than input, or it may be somewhat greater than input, or it may be equals to applied input, that is 100 milli, because this amplifier circuit will be going to amplify the signal by 30 times. Okay, so 30 times that actual applied Vi will get appear over here, and again through this resistive path, the net octane output voltage, it will be somewhat less as that of obtained at the output terminal of that amplifier, right? Now, from 100 hertz, if I increase it to 200 hertz, what I done? I kept the amplitude of that input signal constant, that is 100 millivolts as it is. I will not want to change it. But which parameter I will want to change of that input? Frequency. Now in next step, I will want to change the frequency to 200 hertz. So according to you, what will be the effect on VO? Will it be 0? No, because at 100 hertz, it is non-zero. And we are increasing the frequency, so the reactance offered by this capacitor, it will get reduced, as well as output coupling capacitor. Are you agree with this? Both reactances, it will get reduced. And hence, the actual applied input to the amplifier, that is VI, it will going on to increase slightly. Yes or no? Because HCI gets reduced. And hence, the obtained output voltage, VO, that also will get increased. Are you agree with this? Suppose 500 hertz. Again, it will be that VO will get increased. Now, at a particular frequency of that input signal, at a particular frequency of that input signal, increased input signal, the reactances offered by both input and output coupling capacitor, it will be as good as 0 ohm. Already we discussed all these things during our prerequisites, right? It will be almost 0 ohm. Not exactly 0, but closer to 0 ohm. Suppose that frequency is, I can say it is of 2 kilohertz. What you will say about this VO? Remember that VO will be maximum VO, correct? Because the reactances offered by both capacitor, it will goes to almost 0 ohm. And hence, this VI, it will be almost equals to 100 millivolts. And hence, this amplifier circuit will go on to amplify it by 30 times. And hence, the obtained output voltage at this node, it will be almost equals to 3 volts, correct? And again, as this output coupling capacitor also will be able to provide almost 0 reactance, so the load voltage over here, it will be almost equals to this much, and that is equals to 3. Are you getting it? Any doubt? Okay. Now the same thing, suppose we have to show it graphically. So how it will look? I will be going to take the frequency on x-axis, because that I will be going to change, and that's why I will consider that x-axis for frequency and this one that is for VO. Or you can directly take at the gain also. Gain is directly proportional to VO, right? At frequency 0 hertz, that means at origin, how much will be gain? Whenever frequency is 0 hertz, gain will be how much? Be fast.
0.
Yes, gain will be 0. Later on, as we are increasing frequency, what is the effect on VO? We observe that VO also gets increased because decreasing reactances offered by these coupling capacitors, correct? And our VI is constant. And what do you mean by gain? Gain is nothing but VO by V in. Correct now? Our V in is constant. That is 100 millivolts. But VO gets changed as there is change in frequency. As frequency increases, VO also gets increased while our V in is constant, and that's why we can say there will be increase in gain like this. And after this particular frequency, I think I taken it as 2 kilohertz. Later on, even if I increase the gain, it remains constant. Are you agree with this? This is nothing but maximum gain. Right? Now, while studying that BJT amplifier, you might have seen or you might have prepared the frequency response of that BJT amplifier, and it was like this. Again, at a particular frequency, and after that, there is reduction in gain. Are you seeing such type of curve in your first year syllabus? No. Okay. Suppose this frequency is 1 megahertz. I'm taking just example. Huh? See, after 2 kilohertz, the gain remains constant, but whenever we will want to increase the frequency of that input more and more, then after a particular frequency, again there will be a reduction in gain. Okay, remember this one. And that is known, or this reduction in gain, it is due to the internal capacitances of that transistor, which is known as parasitic capacitances or stray capacitances. So how it will be going to reduce the gain, that I will be going to explain. At low frequency, whatever less gain we are getting, a reduction in gain, it occurs due to which capacitor? Which one? Ci and Co. At high frequency, whatever reduction in gain occurs, it is due to stray capacitances, or it is also known as internal capacitances of that transistor. How it will be going to affect, that I will be going to explain. Are you getting up to over here? This part I will be going to explain later on. Only remember, due to stray capacitances or internal capacitances of that transistor, it decreases the gain whenever it starts to play their role. Okay. Are you getting it up to over here? Shall I go ahead?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So see, here we can say from 2 kilohertz to 1 megahertz, we are getting constant gain. Correct? And that constant gain is maximum gain. You might have studied again, or you might have heard about lower cutoff frequency and higher cutoff frequency of amplifier. It is denoted by FL and FH. Okay. FL is nothing but lower cutoff frequency, FH is nothing but higher cutoff frequency. And from these two frequencies, we can determine one more parameter of that transistorized amplifier circuit, and that is bandwidth. Okay. So what is that FL and FH? See, whatever gain you are getting as a maximum gain, just go down by 3 decibel or 70% of that maximum gain. I will come over here. This is nothing but what? Minus 3 dB. It is known as minus 3 dB gain. Just go down over here and again just plot one straight line that will be going to intersect our frequency response curve at the low frequency side as well as at high frequency side. Is it visible? Whatever I am showing, just come down by 3 dB of that maximum gain. Why I taken it this dB, or what is the significance of decibel gain, or how it is to be calculated, that also I will be able to explain. But just remember here, from maximum gain, just go down by 3 dB and plot one straight line. That will be parallel to the maximum gain curve. Okay. That plotted line, it will be able to intersect our frequency response curve at low frequency side as well as at high frequency side. And that intersection point at low frequency, this is known as lower cutoff frequency, and at high frequency side, at the intersection point, it is known as higher cutoff frequency, that is FL and FH. Okay, suppose this FH, again I will take example, suppose this FH, remember this FH will be surely greater than this frequency, after which that reduction in gain starts. So that I consider it as 1 mega. This is just example. Okay. So that FH, suppose this is of 1.2 megahertz. How much FH I consider? 1.2 megahertz. Okay. As per this plotted curve. Similarly, FL, you will observe, again it is somewhat less than that of this frequency, after which gain remains constant. And that I consider as 2 kilohertz And that's why this FL, I will be going to take it as somewhat less than that of, therefore I will take it as 1.8 kilohertz. Are you getting this example? FH I taken it as 1.2 mega and FL I taken it as 1.8 kilohertz. Now the parameter of this amplifier, another parameter, that is nothing but bandwidth. Bandwidth equals to FH minus FL, the difference between these two cutoff frequencies. Okay. So in this example, how much will be the bandwidth? Just do this calculation, 1.2 into 10 raised to 6 as it is in mega minus 1.8 into 10 raised to 3 as it is in kilo. So do it. Keep your notebook, pen and calculator ready always. Give me the answer. 1.2 mega minus 1.8 kilo. Be fast. (1.2) into 10 raised to 6 minus
1.19.
1.19 what? What? 1.1 what? Kilohertz. It will not be in kilohertz. It will be in mega. Okay, just give me your calculator answer. 1.19 into 10 raised to something will be there. Is it 10 raised? What? I'm not getting your answer. 1.2 into 10 raised to 6 minus 1.8 into 10 raised to 3.
10 raised to 6, sir.
Give me the answer in megahertz. How much it is? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so give me the answer.
(1.19 megahertz).
1.19 mega. Okay. It is of 1.19 megahertz. So this is the bandwidth of this amplifier. Now see what is the significance of FL and FH. Why we plotted it? Looking towards this amplifier circuit and by this frequency response curve, or while plotting this frequency response curve, what we studied, by changing input signal frequency, the obtained output voltage gets changed. Right now, at low frequency side as well as at high frequency side. Now, how much input signal we should apply to this amplifier circuit in terms of its amplitude, that yesterday we discussed. What is the limitation of this amplifier circuit to handle that input signal? Is it? We should not go ahead below 300 millivolt as per our that discussion and that example. Okay. Now over here, to have the maximum gain, see this is amplifier circuit. So whatever output it should provide us, it should be as large as possible, being an amplifier. Okay. But while studying, by taking various input signal frequencies, what we observe, that amplifier circuit is providing various gain. From low frequency to onward, we observe that gain increases up to this particular frequency that I consider as 2 kilohertz, and later on it remains constant up to 1 megahertz. This is our consideration. Okay. And we plotted that 3 dB bandwidth. That means by plotting FL and FH. Right. So what is its significance? Why we plotted this FL and FH? Why we are studying this frequency response, or why we will want to perform this practical also. And that's why we studied this bandwidth, that is 1.19 megahertz, and that's why we studied this FL and FH. Correct? So what is the significance of this FL and FH? Whenever we will going on to use this MOSFET based amplifier circuit as an amplifier, then looking towards this FL and FH, we will get cleared how much should be the applied input signal in terms of its amplitude as well as in terms of its frequency, so that we can obtain the maximum gain without any distortion or without any clipping, right? When clipping occurs, that I explained yesterday, right? And when gain will be maximum, that I explain now, right? So this FL and FH, these two values indicates what? The applied input signal, it should be between these two frequencies only. If it is less than 1.8 kilohertz, that means the gain will not be sufficient, correct? Similarly, if it is greater than 1.2 mega, again that gain will get reduced, it will not be sufficient. So to have a sufficient gain, or we can say satisfactory performance of this amplifier circuit, these FL and FH are important. The study of these two frequencies are important. Are you getting it? Or still you have any doubt? Is there any doubt?
No, sir.
No, no? Okay. Now, this much part is remaining. At high frequency side, why there is reduction in gain? Already I explained it is due to stray capacitances. And what is that stray capacitances and how it affects, that I will be going to explain in next lecture. Okay. Now, we'll see what is the use of that bypass capacitor, that is CF, in our amplifier circuit. This one. Okay. Now see, whenever we are applying input signal, this drain current, it becomes time varying. Are you agree with this? Whenever that input signal is at 0 level, then that drain current becomes constant, that is IDQ. That means the current flowing through this transistor will have both components. Both components means what? DC component as well as AC component, right? So if we try to obtain, or simply if we apply KVL to the output side, then that KVL, I will just explain first of all in terms of DC component only. So that VDD, total applied DC source, equals to total drop in that output loop. So that VDD equals to, we can write ID into RD, that is drop across drain resistance, externally connected drain resistance, plus drop across transistor, that is VDS, drain to source, plus drop across RS, that is IS into RS. First of all, are you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Total voltage applied equals to total drop in that loop, that is KVL. So simple. Okay. From this equation, I can write, because I am interested in what? VDS. VDS equals to, I can write VDD minus ID into RD minus IS into IS. Are you agree with this? So whatever output voltage equation I written, this is DC component base. Okay. If I want to again find out the same voltage but AC output voltage, I will be able to write it by small letters. VDS equals to, this VDD will remain as it is. Don't write it by small letter because it is a DC source. Okay, VDD minus, I will be able to consider that ID now by small letter, ID into, like capital RD will remain as it is because it is the resistance, minus IS into RS. So see, being an amplifier, Actually, we are interested in this one. That is AC output voltage, which I written by small letters. Okay. VDS equals to VDD minus ID into RD minus IS into RS. So see, what is the difference between small is into RS and capital IS into RS? This is known as a DC drop. DC voltage drop across that RS, and this one is known as AC voltage drop across that RS. This DC voltage drop, it is required, it is helpful to bias that transistor at the center of load line, being an amplifier. Then and then we can say there is this much VGS. VGS is nothing but what? Voltage at gate with respect to source. Right? And how much is the voltage at source? To set that VGS as VGSQ, this is nothing but this capital IS into RS. Okay? And that's why there is need of that RS. Right? But what will be the disadvantage of that RS in terms of AC conditions? There will be AC drop. Right? Now see, as it is a negative term, minus, it is minus IS into RS by applying KVL. Okay. If this IS into RS increases, what will be the effect on our required VDS? Will it get decreased or will it get increased? See, what is the AC output voltage? By applying KVL, it will be VDS equals to VDD, that is constant, DC source, here we taken as a 10 volt, minus small ID, that is AC drain current into RD, minus AC source current into RS. This drop occurs across this resistor RS. Right. My question is, if this term increases, IS into RS, what will be the effect on required VDS? It will get decrease or increase or no effect. Be fast.
Increase.
How it will get increased? It will get
Decrease.
subtracted, na?
Decrease.
It will get subtracted from what? VDD, which is a constant. Is it? So by increasing IS into RS, there will be decrease in VDS. And being an amplifier, how much should be VDS? It should be as large as possible. Right? So AC drop occurred across resistor RS affects the output voltage. Are you agree with this? AC drop across resistor RS, it will be able to reduce VDS. So we can say it will be able to reduce the gain. Gain is nothing but output voltage divided by input voltage. And output voltage is nothing but what? VDS. Right. So AC drop across this RS will going on to reduce, will going on to decrease the gain of that amplifier. And for amplifier circuit, gain should be how much? It should be as large as possible. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can we minimize it to 0? See, if we minimize it to 0 volts, this drop, what will be the effect on VDS? VDS will get increased, right now, because it is negative term. If we minimize this AC drop across RS to 0 volts, then VDS will be only VDD minus IDRD. Correct? That means this VDS, it will get increased. And if VDS gets increased, that means we can say there will be improvement in gain. Because gain is nothing but again output voltage divided by input voltage. And if output voltage increases by decreasing the AC drop to 0, right, gain also will get increased. Are you agree with this? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
Okay. Now, I will show you how it will go on to decrease that AC drop to 0. I will go on to connect one capacitor, that's CS, parallel to RS. Okay. So that CS will go on to again offer its reactance. I will show you by XCS. Is it? So see, whenever both that component, that AC and DC component, will reach at this node over here. We can show it by small is and we can show it by capital Is. Small is is nothing but what? AC source current. This drops, that is Is into Rs, correct? And capital Is is nothing but what? It is a DC component. This drop, Is into Rs, which is useful to set, or which is used to set that VGS. That means to set that Q point, right? Means one thing you will observe at this node, both type of current components, that is DC current component as well as AC current components, are available at this node. Okay. Now I will ask, for these two components as shown over here, there are two paths for their flow towards the ground. First path is what? Rs, 470 ohm, and another path is through capacitor, that is CS. That means through its reaction, that is XCS. Okay. Now, if I consider first component, that is capital IS, DC source current, which path that DC current will follow? Either through Rs or capacitor. Again, it will have both options. Either it will go on to flow through Rs or it will go on to flow through capacitor. Right now. So my question is, if it is capital Is, that means DC component, which path it will follow? Either through capacitor or through resistor. It will have both options.
Resistor.
Okay, very nice. It will go on to flow through resistor, but why not through capacitor? Your answer
Because
is
it is DC component.
okay. As it is a DC component, then reactance offered by that capacitor to the DC component will be again how much? Infinite. Correct now? Right. So the reactance offered, it will be infinite. Infinite reactance means what? So see, for DC component, the reactance offered by capacitor, it will be infinite. Right. As it will be infinite, it will not act as open. So there will be no flow of DC current. Now what is the path remaining to that DC current? It is only through resistor Rs. And there will be a DC drop, that is capital Is into Rs, which will be useful for the VGS Q. Agree? Now, as per our previous discussion, if this capacitor is not there, there will be AC drop across Rs. Right? That is nothing but small is into Rs. And we have to reduce it. Why to reduce it? To improve the gain. As per this equation, whenever it will goes to 0, VDS will get increased. That means gain will get increased. Right? And that's why the capacitor is connected parallel to that Rs. Now see, for small is, again there are two options. One is through resistor and another one is through capacitor. Now which path that small is will follow? As it is a AC component, the reactance offered or provided by that bypass capacitor, it will be almost 0. Or it will be very less as compared to another path, that is by Rs. So that AC current will be able to flow through capacitor. It will not be able to flow through Rs. And as already I told, that XCS, it is almost 0 for that AC component. How much will be the drop across it? That drop will become almost 0. That means we reduce this AC drop. That means we improve VDS. That means we improve the gain of that amplifier. And that's why this capacitor is known as bypass capacitor. It bypasses the AC current. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
remember, this capacitor, which is known as a bypass capacitor, which is used to improve the gain of that amplifier. Is it okay now? So in next lecture, we'll discuss on the various internal capacitances of this transistor MOSFET and how it affects the high frequency gain. Okay, that capacitances are known as stray capacitances or parasitic capacitances or internal capacitances. How it looks and how it affects, that I will go on to explain in next lecture. So our time is over. I will go on to stop. Just wait again.